episode 5 of the Captain and the Real Deal podcast. Today's episode takes a deep dive into the Week 2 matchups for our respective teams, the Seattle Seahawks and the Minnesota Vikings. We will also predict the winners for all of the other Week 2 games, as well as unveiling our starting lineups for our 2021 fantasy football teams.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Damen und Herren, it's time for the podcast featuring Captain Vuk and Billy Gold, aka The Real Deal. This is the only place that's talking Hawks and Kings, but to be specific, we're talking Seattle Seahawks and Minnesota Vikings. So strap up. We're taking you on a fantastic voyage, unlike any you've ever been on, so sit back and get ready to set sail to the emerald-rich lands of the Seattle Seahawks and the treasure-filled valleys of the Minnesota Vikings with your hosts, Captain Vuk and Billy Gold, aka The Real Deal. Let's get it.
Welcome back, football fans, the Scolders, and the 12s to episode 5 of the Captain and the Real Deal podcast. I'm Billy Gold, along with my co-host, Captain Vuk, and our production engineer, Mike, Top Gun Cruz. We have another great episode in store for you today, as we're going to take a deep dive into the Week 2 matchups for our respective teams. We also will predict the outcomes of all the Week 2 games, as well as discussing our fantasy football team lineups. As always, I suggest you fill up your solo cup, sit back, and get ready for another fantastic voyage. Hey, Cap, you got the colors on today. You
That's
ready to
right.
roll? You
Always ready to roll. Always ready to roll during football season. Never question that. This is your captain speaking, Captain Vuk, with my guy, B Gold, a.k.a. The Real Deal, right by my side as always. He's just finishing up the pre-flight checks, and while he does that, I just want to welcome you aboard for our second destination in this fantastic voyage. For the Emerald Nation, our next journey traverses us into the Emerald Nation. In fact, directly into the heart of it. There will be chaos, noise, unexpected events, and the like, but rest assured, we will get you in and out safely because that's what we do. Hostile territory is not new to any Seahawk fan, and if you've been paying attention to B Gold, it's absolutely not new territory for Viking fans either. So let's just rock and roll. We're going to do this every single week until the season's over. So for this battle, we will be in our backyard, and when you see the blue flag with the 12 on it rise up that flagpole, this is your signal to engage and defend our spot. Relentless, disciplined, and very, very physical. So strap up. Oh, wait a minute. We just confirmed with the tower that our pre-flight checks are complete and we are clear for takeoff. So keep your seatbelts fastened as we are expecting some turbulence. But just remember, we are built for this. Flight crew, please secure the cabin for travel and secure all hatches. Captain Vuk, the tower. Destiny Travelways Flight 002 is now ready for takeoff. Roger that, Captain Vuk. Runway 12 is all yours. And as always, go Hawks. Hit them engines, B Gold, and let's go.
Give me that shout out. All right, Cap. Awesome intro. So, Cap, before we get this party started.
Yes, sir.
Got something a little off script there for you.
Hit it up.
Can you give the fans some insight on where the name Vuk originated from?
Oh, wow. You're going to put me on blast like that?
On blast, just like that.
All right. Well, to be quite honest, this happened when I was in elementary school back in the city of Destiny. And everybody, including everybody in my family, had nicknames. And I didn't really have one. So I was like, I want a nickname, but I want something to be unique. And so I ended up, I just came up with Vuk, the Vuk one day. And I ran it by my cousins and my brothers. And they were like, yeah, that's good. That's you. And so it stuck ever since. And so if you know me and you see the Vuk anywhere, you know that it's probably tied to me and or my family. But yeah, everybody in the hometown, you know, they know that I'm the Vuk. And that's cool if you don't know that. But if you don't know, now you know.
All right, good stuff. You want to know why? I've already talked to a few of our listeners, and that's one of the first questions I get. So, all right.
Awesome.
Let's get into this, and we're going to start out with the matchup of the week for the Minnesota Vikings versus the Arizona Cardinals. The Minnesota Vikings lead the all-time series 17-11, which includes 2 postseason games, one in 1999 and one in 1974. The last matchup these two teams played was in 2018. Minnesota took that game 27-17. So before I get started on my actual prediction, I'm going to talk about a couple notable games. December 21st, 1974. Minnesota 30, Cardinals 14. Aided by Cardinal turnovers, the Vikings scored 16 points in less than 7 minutes in the third quarter as they coasted to an easy win in the NFC divisional playoff round. Minnesota went on to defeat the LA Rams in the following week in the conference championship before losing in Super Bowl IX to the Pittsburgh Steelers, 16-6. One of 4 losses in the Super Bowl for Minnesota. I just need one before I go. And I think, I probably got about 32 years left, Cap. So
I think you got more than that, B Gold. A little bit more than that.
They got some time to get that person. Next notable game I'm going to talk about is January 10th, 1999. Minnesota Vikings 41, Cardinals 21. This is the year that Minnesota went 15-1. And after destroying the Cardinals, lost to the Atlanta Falcons in the NFC Championship game. Thanks to Dennis Green getting cold feet in the final minute of regulation.
Ooh.
This is why Dennis Green is not an all-time great coach.
Come on.
You had the most prolific offense in NFL history and could score from anywhere on the field at any time, and you take a knee with 27 seconds left, with 2 timeouts still available.
You don't call that strategy?
On your own 28-yard line.
I'm not sure who's in here right now.
Well, let me give you some more Dennis Green. Much respect. God rest his soul.
Okay.
One of the greatest post-game interview responses ever came in 2006 from the then Cardinals head coach after a loss to the Chicago Bears, who happened to be the former coach of the Minnesota Vikings, Dennis Green. I will try and bring back the moment, but we'll clean it up a little. So the question that was presented to Coach was, Coach, 4 picks against Grossman and 2 fumbles. What did you see about the Bears? No, you know what I mean. We just, the Bears are what we thought they were. What we thought they were. We played them in preseason. Who the hell takes the 3rd game of the preseason like it's horse bleep? We played them the 3rd game. Everybody played 3 quarters. The Bears are who we thought they were. That's why we took the damn field. Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their butts. But they are who they thought they were. And we let them off
the hook. I think the real deal just stepped into the building, ladies and gentlemen, again. Matter of fact, there's a dude standing in the door right now with a hat on tilted. I can barely see his eye. He's wearing a trench coat with his collar popped up. And I'm hoping he leaves because he's making me a little bit nervous right now.
But now that you got me rolling, there's something else I need to get off my mind. Dennis Green was one of the many disciples of Bill Walsh, who claimed to be the inventor of the West Coast offense.
Yes.
But the reality is that Walsh was not the inventor of the West Coast offense.
You're challenging history now.
Other than maybe the name.
Here we go.
He even admitted to stealing the philosophy of one of the greatest minds in not only Vikings history, but NFL history. You know who that is, Cap?
Are you talking about Bud Grant?
No,
Who?
Jerry Burns.
So you're saying Walsh said he took the West Coast offense from a Minnesota Viking?
Absolutely. He admitted to stealing the philosophy from Jerry Burns. Burns served as the offensive coordinator for the Vikings from 1968 to 1985. Wait till you hear some of this stuff, which included all four Super Bowl appearances. Most people do not know this, but Burns was the assistant coach to Vince Lombardi when the Packers won their 2 Super Bowls, 1 and 2. He was the head coach of the Vikings from 86 to 91. One of the greatest NFL minds that does not get the credit he deserves. He has been nominated for the Hall of Fame, but has yet to gain the votes necessary for induction. What a shame. Burns died this year on May 21st at the age of 94. And me, regret never getting a chance to meet him. I hope on this upcoming trip to the Week 3 game that me and you are going to, I have a chance to meet another legend, Bud Grant. I know it's a long shot, Cap, but never say never.
That's right. That's a life motto right there.
Exactly. If I could pull that off, kudos.
Well, you never know. I know a couple of people in Minnesota, not as many as you, but, anything can happen.
Anything can happen. If he was in his office that day, I might just have to knock the door down.
And I appreciate you doing your homework. I'd never heard of him or that situation. I've never had anybody challenge that I know of Bill Walsh and the West Coast offense as him being the originator. So that's pretty cool. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to go back and look at film now and see if that was a West Coast offense and if Bill made it what it was.
Absolutely. Chuck Foreman was the first guy to catch passes out of the backfield. All right, let's move to 2003.
Good stuff.
I got that off my chest.
Good stuff.
I've been waiting all week for this one.
I can tell you're kind of pent up there.
2003 saw the Vikings come close to getting into playoffs. Oh, this is another heartbreaking one. But in the final regular game of the regular season, the Arizona Cardinals shocked them with a game-winning touchdown on 4th and 28.
Yes.
With no time left on the clock, knocking the Vikings out of the playoffs. And not only that, it pushed Green Bay in.
I don't like to hear that at all.
I watched the play this week. Boy, that stung again. And head coach Mike Tice should have been fired after this loss, as the defensive lineman did not drop everyone back to cover the end zone. The biggest impact of the Cardinals winning this game was that had the Cardinals lost, they would have had the first pick in the NFL draft. And chances are they would have selected Eli Manning, who went first overall that year. However, they didn't end up that bad. They picked third, and they got a great player in Larry Fitzgerald, who, by the way, was a former Vikings ball boy. So, a couple fun facts. Green Bay, now in the playoffs after this heartbreaking defeat, hosted your Seattle Seahawks in their first ever postseason meeting. Green Bay won in overtime when Packers defensive back Al Harris returned an interception 52 yards for the game-winning touchdown, 4:25 in overtime, making this the first playoff game ever to be won in overtime with a defensive touchdown.
Can I speak on that at all?
You can.
Okay.
But then I want to tell you a memorable moment that happened.
Oh, I know the memorable moment, and me as a Hawk fan and everybody else in the Hawk and Emerald Nation loved it.
Okay, so the game is memorable for Seahawks quarterback Matt Hasselbeck's ironic comment after winning the coin toss for the start of overtime, telling the microphone referee and thus the crowd at Lambeau Field. Oh, wow. And the national television audience.
Speak on it.
We want the ball, and we're going to score.
And
what do you say, Kat?
And the word is, he said, we want the ball and we want to score. But either way, whatever he said, I got Matt's back. And I spoke about this in our first, I believe, episode, maybe the second one.
We're going to do a fact check on that one.
Yeah, let's do a fact check. But see what comes out.
I got no fact check.
But the other thing that people that either didn't study the game or don't know football, they try to pin that on Matt because he's the quarterback. He's the one who threw the ball. And I remember Al Harris taking that ball and running it back, and it was very painful because we do not like Green Bay. But the guy that had that route was a gentleman named Alex Bannister, and word on the street is he ran the wrong route. So, and I played receiver, and I'm kind of feeling like Matt wouldn't have threw that hot route if that guy wasn't going to be there. So I'm thinking he might have ran the wrong route. But
that's why we have these discussions. I will say this: Matt Hasselbeck thought he was Joe Namath making that comment.
Well, no, he was just feeling good.
No.
He was confident in his guys. We got his back.
All right. We're going to do a fact check. And I got to
let's find out, because I thought he said we want to score. But either way, though, for my record, whatever he said, I'm down for it. I was fully amped up and started doing push-ups when he said it. I'm ready to go.
And I know for restrictions, we won't be able to play the whole comment, but we just got to get the word we're going to or we think we're going to.
We want to, we got to figure that out.
We want to or we're going.
We want to score. But yeah, if he said whatever he said, I'm good with it. I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
Fun fact number 2. This was also the final game ever played by John Randall, who after leaving the Vikings was in his 3rd year with the Seahawks. Did you know that, Ken?
I did know he came and finished his career with us, and I was happy to have him because he's one of my favorite all-time players.
Great player. Okay, this game. So let's talk about the Cap and I. We are at a slight disadvantage since the week 2 games or week 1 games have not started prior to these predictions. But until we streamline our podcast releases, this is what we're dealing with. So for the crowd out there, week 1, we're a couple days away from week 1, and we've already made those predictions. Now we're going to make week 2 predictions without, really a whole lot of data. But you know what? As good as we are, we're going to get them right anyway.
I ain't going to claim that, but I'm going to give it a good shot. That's for sure.
I don't mind taking the lead. For this game, the Vikings defense needs to contain Kyler Murray's elite rushing ability. Fortunately, Minnesota's had to deal with similar QBs over the years, specifically Russell Wilson. So this is the time to put that tape to work. This is also the Patrick Peterson revenge game. After spending the first 10 years of his Hall of Fame worthy career in the desert. The cornerback signed with the Vikings during the offseason. Expect Peterson to come and play, and also, this is key, provide plenty of insight to the Vikings defense and how to frustrate and stop the Cardinals offense. This guy, for the last 10 years, is on the practice field and has seen their offense, and he should be able to really give the Vikings some good talking points and some good insight. On the offensive side of the ball, the Vikings will continue to feed Dalvin Cook early and often while mixing in the play-action pass, which I expect to result in some big plays. My prediction, Minnesota 28, Arizona 24. Just want to, before we move on to you, Cap, for your game, just have some other quick news on the Vikings. They found their new punter prior to the season. Jordan Berry, who was cut by the Steelers, has signed with the Vikings. He lost the battle in training camp, and now he's the Vikings punter. He averaged 45.8 yards per kick last season. Welcome to Minnesota, Mr. Berry. And also our number one pick, Christian Darrisaw, offensive tackle, replacing Riley Reif on the left side, the blind side of Kirk Cousins. So we got to get him out there. Has finally started to practice, and if all goes well, should be available by week 2 and starting by week 3. So again, Vikings 28, Cardinals 24. Cap, what say you?
I know you can get a little louder than the average fan. Let me see you stand up, hear you scream and shout. That's what the 12 man's all about.
Real quick, because last time we were able to get together, you did not have a long snapper. Your team let the person go. Did you secure that hole? Because that's pretty critical.
That was a procedural move, and we just cut him so somebody couldn't steal one of the guys who wanted to slide to the practice squad.
Okay.
And we signed him right back.
So you were right.
We're staying consistent.
You're right. No, the comments I have are with regard to your team and this game coming up, because we are very familiar with our rival NFC West team, the Arizona Cardinals. You are in for a very hopefully disciplined defensive scheme, because if you do not keep Mr. Murray contained, he can destroy your team. He can have your defensive lineman out of gas by the end of the first quarter. So you're going to have to figure out how to make sure you get him contained. I don't know much about your defense, but you're also going to have to, if DeAndre Hopkins plays, he's one of the best receivers that I've ever seen as far as catching the ball in ridiculous positions.
Peterson Hopkins. That's the matchup.
Yeah, well, I'm sure they're very familiar with each other too. And now, are they going to try to isolate, or are they going to try to? They're not going to man him up. They're going to have to double him or give him some cloud coverage, which is over the top extra help.
Safety. Yeah, we'll roll the safety.
And there's another thing that you didn't mention, and there's a gentleman who I've watched from afar and respect his game, who's in our conference now. So Russell has to see him twice a year too. But there's a man named J.J. Watt that is going to be in front of your quarterback, looking at him throughout the entire game.
He's gonna wreak some havoc. I'm hoping that we could push him to the wide and step up in the pocket, or push him inside and roll out and try and buy some time that way.
Well, you might need 2 linemen and a back to chip him, because he's hard to push. But that'll be a challenge for your offensive line. If they can contain him or control him, you'll have a really good shot at being effective. But you have to tackle.
Yes, agreed. Eric Hendricks is one of the greatest tacklers in this era, so he'll probably be spotting him. Daniel Hunter is going to put a lot of pressure on Murray, and Daniel Hunter, he can move.
And really quickly, you mentioned Larry Fitzgerald. He's one of my all-time favorite human beings and receivers, and so they will miss him.
They will miss him.
They will miss him. And then the other thing you touched on briefly was that, you didn't get a chance to possibly draft Eli Manning. Just remember, the team he was drafted to, he never played a down for them.
Correct. Well,
San
actually,
Diego Chargers.
the Cardinals didn't get a chance to draft him.
No, they didn't.
Right, I'm saying they would have had that number 1 pick. And he went to the Chargers, and he got traded to the Giants because he didn't want to play for San Diego.
Right.
Chances are he might not want to play for Arizona either.
It's possible. He might have pulled the same move with them.
Agreed.
So, great breakdown. Are you nervous at all?
No.
Not just comfortable as all.
You
huh?
know what?
Sitting in the lounge chair,
we roll
solo
out,
cup.
We roll out of the gate 2-0, and then we're coming home. I'm liking that. Is Arizona a challenge? Yes. Can they beat us? Yes. At home, is it hard to beat somebody at home? Absolutely. You got to add 3 points any score. So, they're already up 3-0. We didn't start the game yet.
Well, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I'll give you our prediction for that game now.
Okay.
I think that it's going to be a good battle, but I think somehow Kirk Cousins is going to have a problem and be unable to close out the game. And I'm pushing a lot of this on the fact that it's JJ Watt's first time playing in front of those fans. They get amped up there, and it's a home game. And we already know how difficult it is to win on the road. I think it's going to be a nail biter. It's an NFC brawl. You guys could win it with the field goal, but I see Arizona coming out of there with the field goal.
I'm a little
and winning 17 to 14.
17-14. I'm a little, wow, you had a low scoring game. I'm a little skeptical of our kicker. He's yet to prove anything in the regular season, Greg Joseph. So we'll see how that pans out. That's why I don't have any field goals attached to my score. I got 4 touchdowns. I don't got any field goals in there. Again, could go either way. I'm not going to say I'm not a homer. So, I'm always going to roll. If there's an opportunity, I'm going to tend to pick my team.
Yeah, same here. I mean, again, 1 week at a time, and we don't go out onto the field if we don't think we can get the W. And being a 12, we legitimately are a part of this team. We impact the game, and we will not walk in there thinking that we can't have an impact and get the W. So that's where my head's at in everything I do in life pretty much too, but definitely when I'm talking about my Seahawks. So Seattle Seahawks, I'm hoping, because we don't have the scores, as B Gold said earlier, that we took care of business in Indianapolis and knocked the Colts off. So that was sweet, B Gold. And now we'll go ahead and segue into the Seahawk Week 2 matchup. Hopefully by this time, because we don't have the information right now, we're working off of a 1-0 victory, hopefully from beating the Indianapolis Colts. But aside from that, we're moving on to Week 2, where we will be taking on the Tennessee Titans. This is a home game, which is a big deal in Seattle and in the surrounding area. And if you don't know that, Tennessee will find out firsthand. And if you think that coming into Lumen Stadium is a joke and that you can handle that noise, if you don't prepare, you're not prepared, period. So the quarterback under center for the Titans is Ryan Tannehill, formerly of the Dolphins. He's now teamed up with Julio Jones and A.J. Reed. Both of them are banged up, but both of them are veterans and projected to play. So we have to be prepared for that. And our shakiest position on defense, I think on the whole team, is our cornerback position. And these two savvy veterans, provided that the quarterback is protected, could challenge and test, where we really are with regard to our cornerbacks, because we just have a lot of fluidity there, which makes me a little bit nervous as far as, how good are we going to be. I like some of the names that are in camp and some of the names that they've signed as recently as I think today or yesterday, they signed 2 more. So I'm curious to see how that group performs. It's going to be a great test for them. And even if Julio Jones and AJ are at 80%, that's going to be a serious test for our young corners. So that's the wild card in this game for me. And thanks to the true Titan that Derrick Henry is, it's going to be critical that these 3 things happen on our defense. And this is basically the recipe for us to be successful. Number 1, our defensive front needs to not only, they actually have to hold the line of scrimmage. They have to do that. When they get contacted, they have to hold their ground and either make a pile right there and not be moved back. If they don't do that, it's going to let Derrick Henry get his steam before he gets into the second level, which is where the linebackers are. We can't afford that, especially if he gets out on the perimeter. We want to keep him inside, be disciplined in our lanes, force everything back inside, D-line, D-front, hold your ground, and let our linebackers do what they do, which is come up and fill. And we have to do that quickly. The second you force Derrick Henry to either slow down or try to go lateral, we have to make contact right away after that, get hands on him, get pads on him, and then let the swarm defense come and take over so he doesn't get going. Because once he gets going, I think he led the league in either 20-yard plus plays last year or something crazy like that at his size, and he's fast. And I don't want him isolated with defensive backs because it's just a complete mismatch. And you could ask Josh Norman about that, who just signed with the 49ers when he did the highlight reel on him.
I saw that.
Boy.
And usually the first guy doesn't bring Derrick Henry down.
No.
You got to gang tackle him.
But I tell you what, and a lot of people missed this too, that very next play in that series, Josh Henry came back and smacked him.
Josh Norman.
Yep, and I love that. He came right back and got him. But back to our Hawks, we have to really play lane disciplined football. We have to turn everything that we can inside and try to contact Derrick Henry because he's their main threat on offense until the other folks kind of get in tune with the quarterback and they protect him. turn everything inside so our linebackers like Bobby Wagner, Jordan Brooks, and the rest of the fellas come up, thump him, and then try to get that ball out. And we always stress turnovers. So we'll be coming after that ball too, but we got to stop him from getting his churning and his engines rolling. The offense is the most dangerous part of this team in my view. And I think if we can start off by doing that, being disciplined up front with our 7, and then, getting pressure on them when they're forced to throw, we'll be in really good shape. Offensively, and this is a similar situation for your team, B Gold, we have to control the line of scrimmage, period. If we can do that and impose our will, we'll be off to an amazing start. And then Shane Waldron can unlock everything that he needs to unlock in his offense. I want to see it.
That's right. Rookie offensive coordinator this year, too.
For us, yeah. And it's his first time coordinating. And I mean, there's a lot of talk about it. They don't let the local media really see much. But it's time to unveil it. It's game day. Yeah, it's game day. So let us see what we're working with. And
Put up or shut up.
Yeah, let's go. We got to start by controlling the line of scrimmage. We have to get my man Chris Carson touches so that their defense understands clearly that it's going to be tough sledding.
I'm actually sitting him in my fantasy league this year.
I strongly recommend you reconsider.
Well, I'm going with Robinson from the Jaguars, who has a matchup against Houston. I got to give it some more thought. Carson, I drafted him to play him, but I'm looking at the matchups this week. I'm not sure I can do it.
What defense because he's going against the Tennessee defense. There's a lot of new names on there. And again, I'm thinking that we're going to be able to find some splash plays, and Chris is going to be a part of that. But you got to do what you got to do. But yeah, I just want to make sure that Chris Carson gets his touches. We also got to make sure Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf get fed as well. And we also must get our tight ends involved. We got to do all of that. And I think Russell's built to do that. He is not uncommon to hit 8 receivers in a game. So, some quarterbacks will lock in on 1 or 2 receivers. Russell hits the open person. That's one of the things I love about his game. So you get caught sleeping on a play, you can get torched. Even if it's for 10 plays, anything to move the sticks.
Including running.
Yeah. And we have speed demons too. So if Waldron can work in some of these bubble screens that I've heard a little bit about, or even some quick reverses, where we can get the ball in the hands of our playmakers and get some one-on-one matchups and, break a tackle, miss a tackle, and take it off, I'm all about it. Their defense is what the media is calling, and some of the things I've read, revamped. But they do have to be us. We have to be smart and execute at the point of attack. That's like immediately after that ball is snapped, whatever your assignment is, you have to get to that point of attack and handle your business and let the plays take over. And then the last thing I want to touch on with regard to what we have to do, and I don't ever want to forget the third phase of the game, are the special teams. And they just have to do 3 things too. Hit hard, wrap up, and don't give up chunk plays.
No penalties.
No, because if we do that, we definitely don't want to get hammered with penalties. And we have a tendency sometimes to go on a penalty binge.
It's the most called penalty in the game today on returns. All the time. All the time.
We don't want any penalties. Because if we do those 3 things, we're going to establish good field position. And if I don't have the stats on this, but if you check what Russell Wilson does inside the 50, going downhill, is probably a ridiculous percentage of getting scores. And so that's what we need to put him in a good position to let us do what we do. If we do these 3 tasks, if we take care of business on defense, starting with that front 7, and we do our thing on offense, get the ball in the hands of our playmakers, and let our special teams control the positioning, we're going to take care of business. Again, nothing's easy, but I have the Seattle Seahawks taking care of business in this game, 38-10.
Wow, a blowout.
You can call it that if you want to, but it's like, to me, it's just.
Is there any other way to say it?
It's just like, I think we're going to be ready to take care of business at every level, and every team is not built to do that. And it's a mindset, and we have that in Seattle. We have that.
Nice. Okay,
good.
Coaches
Coaches preach it, and the fellas live it.
And we shall see.
We shall. I hope I'm accurate.
I'm going to start with the Seattle Seahawks. They lead the all-time series 10-7. And, based on the fact that Tennessee used to be the Houston Oilers, I'm surprised that the Seahawks lead the all-time series. So they probably dominated the last 5 or 6 years to really push themselves, in the lead there. The last matchup was in 2017, which Tennessee won 33-27. Going back to the 1987 AFC wildcard game, the Houston Oilers. By the way, let me tell you something about the Houston Oilers. And I don't even have any. I'm going off script.
Let's hear it.
Good thing about the Houston Oilers is I have been a Viking fan forever. But back in the day when we used to play electric football, you had to have an AFC team and an NFC team. So my AFC team at the time, because I was forced to take one, was Love You Blue, Dan Pastorini and that group. And I loved their helmets. And I was, I was appalled that they got rid of that logo. Even if they moved to Tennessee. Can't you get oil in Tennessee?
I don't know, but I mean, maybe you might be able to.
You
You can get some Titans over there, that's for sure.
In that game, the Oilers in the 1987 AFC wildcard game, the Oilers beat the Seahawks in OT 23-20. Oilers kicker Tony Zendejas won the game with a 42-yard field goal, 8 minutes and 5 seconds in overtime. His third field goal of the game. Although Houston outgained Seattle with 427 total offensive yards to 250, the game remained close until the very end. Legendary receiver Steve Largent came out for that game. 2 TDs for the Seahawks coming from Dave Craig. So good battle there. And, Tennessee, as Houston then took that game. So let's fast forward here to 2021. Here's how I'm seeing it. Tennessee's offense, they're going to be outstanding in 2021. However, the defense will be worth keeping an eye on throughout the season. Their key addition, if he has anything left, Julio Jones. Since Ryan Tannehill took over the Titans' QB1 spot from Marcus Mariota in 2019, he's been one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Surprising. Tannehill has posted an 18-8 regular season record as Tennessee starters with back-to-back playoff appearances. What's more, Tannehill has thrown for over 6,500 yards and a 55-13 TD interception ratio, adding another 11 scores as a rusher. I don't see him as a rusher, and the stats are telling me different.
Oh yeah, he'll sneak one in on you.
There are going to be teams that the Titans simply can't match up with. Seattle is one of them. They boast an outstanding duo at wide receiver, a pairing that Tennessee's secondary stands little chance of stopping. Fortunately, Seattle's defense isn't exactly a strength.
Uh-oh, you coming at my defense?
And that should take the game to the wire.
What?
I'm just saying, based on Tannehill and the stats I just gave you, and Henry. But as I see it, playing at Lumen Field, formerly CenturyLink Field, the Seahawks pull this one out. My prediction, Seattle 28, Tennessee 27.
Wow. So you called out my defense. You think we're gonna have a nail biter?
I think we need to see. We need to see some tape.
Yeah, I agree. I wish we had some week 1 behind us, but we don't. So we're kind of really out on a limb. But I feel good about what I think is going to happen, and we just have to see what the pudding is. What the proof is when the pudding comes out. We gotta just wait and see.
Great.
Russell is 1-1 against the Tennessee Titans. He's never played the Houston Oilers. And you had to bring up our AFC loss in the wild card.
I like historical stuff.
No, I know. And I appreciate it because we're against the Tennessee Titans. Our team is 4-2, but you're right. Your other stat with regard to us winning 10 and losing 7 is accurate. And we have over the last 6 or so years, we've won, 4 or 5 of those games to kind of push that percentage back up. But it was pretty fair.
And that's how you build rivalries, going back to seeing what the history was. So I think if by sharing the history with the fans, it shows, you guys owe them one.
And that's the thing I take out of it too, is because we know every year the rosters change, they churn, it's different people. But like you were on the team, let's say you played last year, but you got a rookie coming in. They've never played against them. And say you haven't won in 3 or 4 years. Don't tell me they don't feel that rivalry, because they do.
They do, absolutely.
Yeah, so that's the fun part about it. There's going to be a lot of energy.
All right, good. So we both have Seattle. Unfortunately, I heard our scores. Mine's a little closer than yours, but
that's all right.
Again, we got to get some data on ourselves before we can start talking some smack.
Exactly.
So hey, fans, we got to pay some bills. So here is a word from our sponsor.
With the stress of the universe bearing down on you, don't fret, don't sweat. Just get yourself a ticket from Destiny Travelways. Where you want to go, they go. Where you want to leave, so do they. With affordable and pristine accommodations all over the entire solar system and beyond, they will help you safely escape the pressures of your daily lives. Just hit them up, and they will send you up into another world where you can do you. Destiny Travelways, the choice of champions.
There's our first sponsor, and keep them coming. We got to pay the bills. All right, Cat, let's get on to the week 1 game predictions.
Oh, let's ride.
Woo!
Uh-oh, here we
Ric
go.
Flair.
What's
Ric
up, Mr.
Flair
Minnesota?
moment. All right, let's go. We have the New York Giants at the Washington Redskins on Thursday night. Washington at home will protect their home field and coast to a victory behind running back Antonio Gibson and wide receiver Terry McLaurin. My prediction, Skins, well, they're not the Skins, the Washington football team 27 and the New York Giants 13.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think the Washington football team, led by that phenom on defense, Chase Daniels, I believe his last name is going to wreak havoc against the Giants. And I think it's going to be 28-7 Washington football team victory, and New York Giants trying to figure out if the season's already lost. I hope not.
After 2 weeks. Okay, let's get on to the Sunday games. New England at the New York Jets. I have the Teog, the terrible, arrogant, obnoxious guy. That's GOAT spelled backwards if you don't know it.
Oh, okay. You did come with something again.
Bill Belichick will confuse the Jets' rookie QB Zach Wilson all day as New England comes to the Meadowlands and leaves with a victory. Patriots 24, Jets 10.
Yeah, I think Mr. Belichick is very upset with what you said about him last week, and he's going to show you that he can coach, and he is going to fight for another ring. New England whoops the Jets.
Whoops them.
30-7.
So you got that, right?
In their home.
Terrible. It's a Teog.
I got that.
Terrible, arrogant, obnoxious guy. Equals.
Oh, wow.
Mr. Belichick.
I don't know why you come after that man like that.
That's what I do.
All right. That's B Gold.
Let's move on. Denver at Jacksonville. You know, I see Denver squeaking this one out on the road. Jacksonville's going to do some growing pains with their rookie quarterback. Bridgewater's going to do enough to get the victory. My prediction, Denver 20, Jacksonville 17.
Yeah, I really do like Denver this year, and I do like the stability of their defense, and Von Miller is on the roster, so he'll have his impact, but I really like Bridgewater. He is poised to really have a good year. He can do everything, as we've talked offline about multiple times, and I think Denver's going to go ahead and go into Jacksonville, and it's Urban Meyer's new squad, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I think they're going to go in there and make it tough for them to get their first win, and they're going to win that game 17-10.
Okay, so is Urban Meyer the next Steve Spurrier that can't do anything in the NFL?
I don't know, but we're going to find out because it's the NFL. You can't hide for long in the NFL.
You cannot. All right, let's move on to Buffalo at Miami. Buffalo's pretty deep squad. Miami is much improved, but I think Buffalo goes on the road and wins with a late field goal. I have Buffalo 27, Miami 24.
Wow, that's really close to my score. I have Buffalo going in. It's going to be a dogfight. These are two bitter division rivals. Miami's one of my squads that I said is on the up, but I think Buffalo's going to go in there and squeeze that victory out 31-28, but they will have a ton more of respect for Miami when that game is over. I think that's going to be a given.
Miami's made leaps and bounds. They're much better.
No, they're for real. They're for real.
Both of these teams are finally out of the Patriots' shadow. Well, we hope, or we'll see. All right, let's move on to a game that's going to, affect your squad. San Francisco at Philly. Sunday, 1 p.m. game. This is not even a matchup. 49ers leave Philly with a decisive victory. My prediction, 49ers 24, Eagles 13.
Yeah, I see the NFC West 49ers going into Philly on a mission, coming out with the victory 37-14. They're going to knock Philly around in their own home, and Philly fans are going to be all over the radio. And I'm going to try to see if I can listen to some of it.
Yeah, a couple of them are going to be in jail too.
I hope not. Y'all stay out of custody. Don't get locked up now.
Jail's in the bottom of the stadium.
They do have a jail.
They don't got to go far. All right, let's move on to another game you're going to be interested in, the LA Rams at the Indianapolis Colts. I see Stafford having another good week and sparking the Rams to a road victory. I got Rams 28, Indianapolis 20.
Yeah, I see the Rams going in there just with their scheme and all the talent that they have on their roster. And again, not knowing much about Indianapolis other than the little bit that we saw prior to the season starting, I have the Rams going in there, coming out of the NFC West 21-7 with a win for the Rams.
Wow.
And I don't generally pick all these road wins, but that's just what I'm seeing for week 2.
Okay. Let's move on to Las Vegas Raiders at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Big Ben. I got on him last week.
You did.
But Big Ben has the protection this week because I don't see Las Vegas with much of a pass rush.
Ooh.
Although they just added another linebacker. But and I think the home field advantage proves to be the difference. I got Steelers 28, Raiders 24.
Yeah, I remember going into Pittsburgh Stadium to watch the Seahawks play one year.
Great stadium.
And I don't know if it was after the Three River was over, I think, but I was expecting the Seahawks to really rock and roll that day. Pittsburgh blew us out of there. And so you just mentioned the home field advantage situation. That's real in Pittsburgh.
That is real.
Those fans are in those stands.
Rabid.
They're there. So yeah, I have Pittsburgh taking care of business with the Raiders, and Gruden's press conference is going to be classic after that. But I have Pittsburgh winning that game 27-14.
Okay, good. Moving right along, we have Cincinnati at Chicago. I see Chicago's defense containing Burrow in a real low-scoring affair. I see the Bears coming out on top 17-13.
Yeah, I see the Bears taking the L at home again. I think Cincinnati goes in and gets their first win. The 2-year quarterback, Mr. Burrow, out of LSU in the Bayou State, I think he's going to go ahead and get his first win for this season coming
Even
after
with
injury.
the Bears linebackers, huh?
Yeah, I do. I think they're going to. Yeah, I think so. I think they're going to scheme for Mac, and I just really put a lot of credit on how tough Burrow is, and I think that's going to be the difference. I got it close. It's going to be a late score, 21-14. Hopefully everybody stays healthy, but I think Cincinnati's going to get that W.
We're going to have to see if he lost a step coming off that injury.
I hope not, because if you do lose a step, they will find that out from film.
They will find out week 1,
and they will challenge you. And if you can't overcome it, it could be a problem.
All right, good. Let's move on. Houston at Cleveland. Here's how I'm seeing it. Cleveland handles business at home. This is my breakout player of the week for these games. I have OBJ. Haven't heard from him in a long time. Has a breakout day. I see Cleveland 31, Houston 13.
Wow, that's another close score. I have Cleveland winning that game also 30-14. I just think that Cleveland's going to be too much at home. They're going to be comfortable with that field. They are going to be hungry to show their fans that they're going to make a run this year. And Baker Mayfield, I think he's going to take another step. And I like his savvy when he's playing. He is going to compete until there's no way to compete, and that you can't coach. So yeah. I'll give them the edge at home with that score. 30-14.
30-14 in the books. Let's move on to the last 1 p.m. game. New Orleans Saints at the Carolina Panthers. So I'm taking quarterback play out of the mix here.
Uh-oh. What you going to do? What you putting it on?
I'm saying McCaffrey outduels Kamara at home. Both great running backs. Both top 3 running backs in fantasy world. Maybe Kamara might have dropped off a little bit with the loss of Breeze because they're going to be able to focus on him a little bit more. But I'm seeing McCaffrey at home, outdueling Kamara. I see the Panthers 27, Saints 20.
Yeah, there's 2 games that I really wish we had film on before I make this pick. This is one of them. The other one, you'll hit it at the late game on Sunday. But I am going to go with the home team and the young quarterback there, Trevor Lawrence. I think Carolina gets this done at home, 28-24. It'll be a college-style environment, even though these are NFL professionals. But this is a division rivalry. I think that extra energy in that stadium is going to help that young quarterback get into that kind of groove that he felt in college where his crowd would go rabid. And I think that's going to help him, realize that he's here, he's arrived. So we'll see if that's true, but I'm taking them to get that W 28-24 over my family and my Saints down south.
All right, good. So let me ask you something.
Yep.
Are the Saints going to get to 7 wins this year?
It's hard to say. I need to see Jameis Winston, honestly. I need to see him perform in a game for 4 quarters. I can't even comment on that right now because I'm going to have to table that one too. We got to keep that conversation going. Yeah. Okay.
I'm seeing a year with transition year without Breeze, and I know they trying to transition at the end of last year, but I'm going to see some up and downs. I'm thinking like a 7-10 season out of them this year. But like I said, we need some more stats and data.
I agree.
All right, let's move on to the 4 p.m. games. We have the Atlanta Falcons at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think this is going to be closer than you would think, but Brady and company hold off the Falcons. I got Tampa Bay 28, Atlanta 27.
Yeah, I have Tampa Bay and the Brady Bunch winning at home against Atlanta. I think Atlanta's going to give them a good fight, but I also see Tampa Bay getting a win 17-21. 21 Tampa Bay, 17 Atlanta.
17, okay. I seem to pick higher scores than you, but I guess we'll round out as we get into week 3 and week 4.
Maybe not in the next game.
Okay. All right, so we got the other 4 o'clock game is Dallas at the LA Chargers. I see Herbert and Eckler at home hold off a late rally from Dallas. So my prediction is LA Chargers 23 and the Dallas Cowboys 21.
Okay, you got them putting up 3. And when I was talking about the high score in the next game, in my list is Seattle, so we already talked about that. But yeah, I have the Chargers winning at home 28-17. Dallas is going to need to find themselves a little bit. They're missing I believe it's their left tackle.
Yes.
Who is critical to their success. But I do expect CeeDee Lamb, regardless, to get some 50-50 balls, and he's probably going to take 1, if not 2, to the house. And that's where I kind of get the 2 touchdowns, unless unless Ezekiel can actually show up. He's got a lot of money coming his way. He needs to try to put the team on his back, and good running backs do that. They say, give me the ball and give me some space, and I can push and get some work done. But
you need a good offensive line. Zach Martin, he's going to miss week 1 because of COVID, but it's not an injury, so he should be back for this game.
Yeah, they need him too.
They definitely need him. Okay, let's move to the Sunday night football game. Kansas City Chiefs at the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore took a key injury to J.K. Dobbins before the season started. Gus Edwards, who I picked up on the waiver wires in a couple leagues, it's going to get a lot of carry. We will see if he pans out to be the guy. I saw an interesting waiver wire today, which, Cap, you might be interested to add to your squad, is Latavius Murray got waived by the Saints. So
he's free?
He's free. So
I have to go take a look.
Baltimore's taking a look at him. They just signed Le'Veon Bell to their practice squad today. So, again, they're searching for – that doesn't tell me they have the confidence in Gus Edwards if they're scouting the waiver wire for a couple of retreads.
That's true.
Le'Veon Bell and Latavius Murray. Though Murray played very well last year for the Saints, and he's a sneaky dual threat. He can catch the ball as well. He's a good blocker, and I think he almost had 700 yards last year. So I see KC scoring early and often.
Okay. And there you go again, taking shots at that Baltimore defense again.
And winning on the road. Though I will say, the scheme from Baltimore is I'm reading what they're saying in the papers that, the Baltimore defense is going to be pretty stout. But I just think Kansas City, they want to send a message. I see Chiefs 31, Ravens 19.
Well, this is my, I guess, upset of the week because I bet most of the country is going to pick Kansas City. And I just, this is a primetime game. They do very well on primetime. And if this wasn't Mahomes, I wouldn't even have the visiting team score this much. But I'm seeing Baltimore get this home win 31-28. I don't think that Baltimore wants to get embarrassed. I think they're tired of hearing about how good Mahomes is and how good of a coach Andy Reid is and, all that. I think that they're going to do what they do, which is smash mouth football in that conference. That might be the most blue collar conference in the NFL. And if they get to going on their terms and that defense does show up, like you mentioned, what you've read, it could be a problem for Kansas City. And how often do you see, Mahomes just getting whacked regularly?
Oh, yeah. Actually, I like to see it.
If that happens, I mean, that's a successful recipe for Baltimore. So we'll see.
Exactly. You know what? Maybe Baltimore looks at the Tampa Bay tape from the Super Bowl and applies.
That's a good tape to look at.
You know what I mean? That's a good tape. And I think a lot of teams are gonna employ that strategy this year.
Why not?
I do think that maybe Baltimore might be one dimensional based on losing the Dobbins. So we'll see. Edwards has to step up, next man up theory, and if he can do that, they're going to be a good squad.
Yeah, we'll see. You can't be one-dimensional in the NFL.
You cannot. All right, let's move on to our final game of the week, Monday night. The Detroit Lions visit Lambeau Field and the Green Bay Packers. This kills me. I want Detroit to win this game. I need losses for Green Bay because we're going to be fighting them for the division crown, hopefully. If we can keep our ship sailing in the right direction. If Cousins, can get a vaccine shot, that might help. I see Rodgers and company roll at home. I even believe that they rest the starters in the fourth quarter.
Wow.
I see Packers 35, Lions 17.
This frustrates me because literally every single time I end up watching a Green Bay game or when they play us, I think of Al Harris. And I feel like he's going to be in the stadium for this game watching it as well and waiting to see if he can get another, hot pick and take it to the house. Yes. So I'm seeing his dreads, flying in the air. I'm like, oh, that's painful. But I actually see Green Bay winning this game 30-9. I think even though I'm not a huge Aaron Rodgers fan, I respect talent. And that's why I'm watching the game because these folks are talented. Yes. And I think, on prime time, he's an arrogant son of a gun, I'm sure. And, he knows what everybody's going to be talking about on Monday night. And he's going to go in and put a dagger in everybody if he can do it.
And
so
not only that, he's taken a temporary break from his new girlfriend so she can focus on Hollywood because she's got a couple projects, movies coming up, and he can concentrate on football and not worrying about if he's got to, take her to the mall or something. No.
I didn't know that. So he's focusing on his profession and she's focusing on hers.
Correct.
All right.
And I'm not into those gossip columns. I happen to see.
I was going to ask, how'd you pick up that information?
I saw it over the waiver wire.
Okay.
All right. Let's move over to our fantasy football league. Again, if you didn't get it last week, my team's appropriately called The Real Deal. Weeks 4 and 14 features head-to-head matchup with, as you heard, our sponsor earlier, Captain Vuk and his squad, Destiny Travelways. So looking forward to week 4. But for week 2, my starters are going to be QB Josh Allen at Miami, running back Derrick Henry at Seattle, running back James Robinson at Denver, wide receiver Stephon Diggs at Miami, wide receiver Calvin Ridley at Tampa Bay. This is my next one is my start of the week, and it's going to sound weird because it's on the road, but I'm taking tight end Darren Waller at Pittsburgh. That's my start of the week.
Ooh, that's a bold one.
Flex option. When I wrote this up, I had my flex as Cooper Kupp, but I have made a last minute change here, and I actually can make more changes because it's a week away. I actually moved running back Gus Edwards against KC up to the flex position. So I'm going to move Kupp to the bench and move Gus Edwards into the flex. Defense, I got Minnesota at Arizona. And kicker, I got your Jason Myers at Tennessee. Jason Myers, he's got to get me 3. I'm going to put 3 field goals down for this game.
Hopefully he'll get you some good work.
I need 3 field goals.
We hope to get you some work.
On my bench, he's my sit of the week. I'm sitting Myles Gaskin against Buffalo.
That's not a bad move.
I also got wide receiver Deebo Samuel on the bench against Philly.
Did you say Deebo?
Deebo.
Not C. Oh, you're talking about for Frisco.
Yes.
Yeah.
Frisco.
Okay.
Yep.
I was thinking CD.
Yep.
My bad. Okay.
And I got running back Mike Davis sitting against Tampa Bay. I got wide receiver Marvin Jones sitting against Denver. I got QB Matt Stafford sitting against Indianapolis. And I got wide receiver Deontay Johnson sitting against Las Vegas. And like I said, I moved Kupp to the bench. So that's my fantasy starters and sits for the week.
Beautiful. Well, I'll start with my crew real quickly. And I want to also thank Destiny Travelways for sponsoring the podcast and sponsoring my fantasy football team as well. So thank you for that. We appreciate it. I'm starting Russell Wilson. Absolutely. Can't go into battle without that man and let him, use the offense to do what it needs to do. I'm also going to start. I took Sony Michel out of my starting lineup and put in Javonte Williams. And I also have Kenyon Drake. Actually, I put Kenyon Drake in the spot. So I have Javonte Williams out of Denver and Kenyon Drake going from the Las Vegas Raiders. I have CeeDee Lamb at wide receiver. Can't wait to see what he does this year. And right now I have A.J. Brown from Tennessee in my starting lineup, but I'm not sure.
He's got to play every week.
Well, but if his knee is kind of banged up, and I don't know if I should put him or Jalen Waddle in from Miami. So I'm going to keep an eye on that. But I'd like to keep A.J. Brown out there because he's one of my favorite wide receivers. And I'm absolutely letting George Kittle go, even though I love Will Dissly. And Dissly will get some run on my team this year, but I'm starting out with
I want to see when you sit Kittle.
I'm starting my man Kittle.
If you're going to sit Kittle, just trade him to me.
Oh, no, he's not getting traded, period. Even if he goes on IR, I keep him. Devonta Smith from Philly. He's also going to be my flex. And I'll save Mr. D. Eskridge later for who's on my bench as a flex once I kind of see how they incorporate him into the offense. Defense, I always ride with my Seahawk D. So we ride or die with them. And we have Ryan Suckup, the Tampa Bay kicker, starting. Hopefully he'll get some points, and that offense gets in scoring position a lot. The rest of the guys on my bench, I have Jalen Hurts, the Philadelphia quarterback, who's waiting and watching. We'll see how that turns out. I got Trey Sermon, a nice running back from San Francisco, who I also like. I already mentioned Will Dissly, and I do have Alex Collins, too. I have to keep an eye on him because I like his game. And you heard me talk about Sony Michel from D. Eskridge from Seattle. So that's where I'm at.
So we got our lineups for the week. So we're all locked in for the moment. We barring any injuries or anything, we might make a couple changes, but we'll recap everybody if we make any changes. So with that, Scolders, 12s, and all you football fanatics, thanks for tuning in today. And make sure to get the word out on the street to check out all of our podcasts on the Apple Podcasts. In the upcoming weeks, we will be taking calls on the show from some of our contacts around the country so they can weigh in with their insights and predictions. We will also be at the Vikings Seahawks game in Minnesota on September 26th and hope to bring back some good sound bites to share with everyone. Kat, as usual, you are on point today. Go ahead and close us out with your final thoughts.
All right, B Gold. Well, I'm glad that the real deal showed up. It was good to see him. He makes me nervous though, so I got to keep a real close eye on him. And we might need to get a lock on the studio door here to make sure we know when he's coming. Make him ring the doorbell or something. But Emerald Nation, and for those that don't know, the Emerald Nation is everybody. It's the Seahawks, it's the coaches, the staff, the people working on the corner selling hot dogs and soda, my people in Pike Place Market out there doing what they're doing, the corporate folks that allow their staff members to light up green lights on game day, the Space Needle lit green on game day. Wait a minute. The Space Needle is emerald green. Did you know that, B Gold?
I did not know that.
On game day, they light up the Space Needle and it's emerald green. And I'm thinking about this. Do you know what that means? That means that on game day, it's not the Space Needle anymore. You know what it is?
It's a Seahawks needle?
It's the Green Lantern.
The Green Lantern. The old
it is.
Superhero.
They just take the handle off, and so it all makes sense now to me. Seattle is a coastal city, if you didn't know that. The Green Lantern is from Coast City. He rocks that emerald green, and we rock that emerald green as well. So I don't think this is a coincidence as I'm thinking about this. The Green Lantern's ring is controlled by willpower. We got that. The ring grants the ability of flight. You tell me how a Seahawk hunts. Flight, y'all. Yes, so we keep watching the Green Lantern, and, on game day, everybody, knows that it's going down. And you can even see that from outer space. And that's so that, the Green Lantern can come through when he needs to. So I'm going to pay attention to that. And in a time of need, we turn the lights on green and we rock and roll. But on behalf of the 12s and everybody in the Skull Nation, we thank you for tuning in. We look forward to a journey that will be unlike anything you've ever been on. And so we're staying airborne till the game is over. So we'll let you know once we get back down on the ground how we fared. Good to go.